I know the SNL story.
Sure.
Many people do, but I don't know. There's some interesting facets to it.
Certainly.
You were was SNL. Now, a lot of people grow up with the dream of SNL.
Mm-hmm.
They just watched every episode, and that's the end all be all.
Yeah.
But that wasn't you.
No.
And you're more of a stand-up than a sketch person, although you
Definitely.
do some really funny sketch stuff we can get into as well. But so for you, how does SNL come about when you're not pursuing it?
They had just seen me at Just for Laughs, Montreal.
The festival.
There was a comedy festival. I did New Faces. So that's, for the listener, that's just like up-and-coming comedians. They have a showcase for new comics. And I guess there were people from SNL that were at the showcase, and they were like, he was funny. So they contacted my agents, and they asked me to do like a writing packet. And I didn't do it. I was like, I don't want to be a writer, and I'm probably not going to ever work for SNL. And then they were like, all right, that's fine. He didn't do the writer's packet. We want him to audition. And so I was a little like, I don't know. But then they were like, he doesn't have to do the preliminary audition. He can just come in and audition on the main stage. Just straight to the main stage audition. And I was like, all right, yes, I'll do that. And
It seems,
yeah.
So it seems interesting that they were just watching you do stand-up. Did you do any impressions in that stand-up?
No, I don't think so.
So they just liked your ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, the way you thought.
Yes.
And yet it's not a format for stand-up, but they saw something and they thought maybe we can.
Yeah, I think they might have. I think they saw that I would be good at the desk for like daily weekend update and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was like where they were probably going to place me.
Does that mean doing the news, or does that mean sliding in on a chair?
I think initially it means sliding in
Mm-hmm.
and doing basically stand up, which is what that is to some
Right.
extent. And then I think it maybe I don't know. It's tough to say I'd host weekend update, but yeah.
So you go do the
For a guy
the
I was
try.
never on the show. I was like, yeah, I'd probably be hosting.
So you go try out and walk us through that process.
So what they do? Did you ever?
No.
They put you in like there's probably like 15, 20 people auditioning. I don't even know. They put you all in green rooms, all of like the cast's green rooms and all that. So you're in 30 Rock, and then they make you wait. They make you wait like 3 hours. You just sit there. Because I guess it's like a tactic to make you like nervous or like see how you handle pressure or whatever. But the whole time I genuinely was like, I'm never going to get this. I don't care. So I was very calm. And then,
you were going to do stand-up for your
yeah, I was just
audition,
going to do 5 minutes of stand-up.
Was it stand-up you knew like the back of your hand, or did you shape it a little for this?
I remember changing it right at the last second, and I forget how I changed it. I think my one friend Reggie was like, you should do an impression.
Mm-hmm.
I might have done one. Yeah. Anyway, so I didn't care at all. And then when you walk out to do the audition, you see the stage, then it hits you. And then you're like, oh, fuck, I do care. You start like,
Because you're on the actual SNL stage.
So nervous. Yeah, you're on the stage where they do the opening monologue and the band is behind you. And then like Lorne Michaels is just sitting there and the whole studio's empty. There's just a camera 5 feet in front of you. It was probably the most nervous I've ever been.
I have had to do plenty of that kind of stuff in terms of, I don't know, some big award show, and the day before, the afternoon of, you go out and there's some big arena or some big venue, and there's nobody there, and you just have to go through your monologue, and it's the worst.
Yeah.
Always far more nervous out there with a couple of the director and the chick with the headset on and the stage hands and all that, just doing it to an empty place. I'd say any comedian would much rather have that place filled than just a few people sitting on folding chairs. And it's counterintuitive to some people, because some people go, oh, well, there's only a few people in there. But to a comedian, that's hell.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's embarrassing. It makes it embarrassing. Like, if you're doing stand-up for no one, it's very embarrassing.
Yes, you're in a club, there's a context, and if you're alone on a bus, you seem insane.
Yeah.
So you start off, and you remember how it went?
I don't. I genuinely don't, but I do remember getting laughs. which they said wouldn't happen. They were like, Lorne and the writers and all them won't laugh. So just pretend they're not there and go. But yeah, once I started, I got some laughs right away, and I was like, oh, nice. And then just kept, that was it. Got done. You walk straight out. You don't say anything to anybody. And I thought I sucked because I was nervous. Like my hand was shaking with the mic. So I was like, this is bad.
Yeah, right.
And then I ran into Michael Che that night after, and he was like, no, that was really good.
At a club or?
Yeah, at a show. And he was like, no, that was actually really good. And I was like, I thought I was, my fucking hand was shaking. I was nervous. And he was like, you were the most calm one.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, fuck. And it just went from there. Like where it was the whole time, I was like, all right, this has got to end. This isn't going to work. And then it just kept being like, no, you're our favorite. No, you got it. Now you're on the cast. Now
In the course of how many days?
2 weeks. It went from like literally 0 to on the show in like 2 weeks.
This would
to
be
getting canceled in like 4 days. Like
it'd be like you're driving a forklift in Philly, and then you're banging Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Like 10 days later,
and then Sandra Bullock accuses you of
living in Malibu. She accuses you of date rape.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
And then you're just back on the forklift. Like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, that was it.
You got a good story for the other guys in the warehouse because they probably never banged Sandra Bullock. But it was literally that. Like you were a comedian, you're working, stuff like that. Yeah. But somehow, pow, you're on SNL. You're not dreaming of it or signing up to work out on SNL, right?
Yeah.
So within 2 weeks, they announce you as a cast member.
Yeah.
And walk us through that, if you could, please.
They actually Lorne called to be like, because after the audition, they bring you in to like meet everybody and talk to everybody. And I met with Lorne, and he was like, I'm going to use you. I'm just not sure if it's going to be a writer or as a featured cast member. So he thought maybe he would bring me on as a writer to kind of like learn how the show worked.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was what he told me he was debating. And then one day he called me and was like, all right, you're going to go straight to cast. And then the next day they're announcing it. So they had 24 hours to like vet me and figure out what I've done and said. And I don't think they were used to ever checking for podcasts.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm certain they weren't. Nobody checked.
They're looking for tweets.
They're looking for tweets, Facebook, and Instagram. Because everybody they put on their show is a improv person, not necessarily a stand-up or somebody that has a podcast. And how what are they going to listen to 1,000 hours of a podcast?
Right.
So yeah, they announced that I'm on the show. It was very cool for about 4 hours. Everybody I'd ever known and like gone to school with, or everybody just reaching out like, holy shit, this is crazy. You're on SNL. And then I was like, no, I'm going to go do stand-up. I went to the Stand in New York. And while I was on the train, my agent, this is like 4 hours after they announced it, my agent texted and was like, did you say, and it was a slur. And I was like, no, I wouldn't say that.
Right.
And then she was like, here's an audio clip of you, or here's a video of you saying it. And I was like, looks like I said it. Yeah. Because right when she said it, I was like, no, I'm not really.
Yeah, if anyone ever hears me say that doesn't sound like something I would, that definitely means I said it.
Yeah. And it was funny because I was on the train, so I was going like in and out of service while getting canceled.
Oh,
so I was like trying to update my phone, and my agent would be like, "You need to call. You're fucked." Like,
God, you wonder, like, does that shave months or years off your life?
Bro, that was, that killed me.
Did you have to go out and perform stand-up that night?
I didn't have to, but yeah, I did. Yeah,
it means like you got the info. Like we all know, if you perform enough, there'll be some disturbing news at some point before you walk out on stage. If you hang around long enough and say enough and have enough kids and whatever else, something will hit you. It's got to be tough going out there with that so fresh on your mind.
Well, everybody knew. The whole crowd knew.
Oh, the whole crowd.
Everyone knew. Yeah, it was like #1 on Twitter.
Oh, interesting.
And then when I walked in, everyone was like, "Holy shit! There's that guy who's getting fucking crucified."
So, first off, do you ever really know who is leading the campaign? Like, is it is it Mothers Against Drunk Drivers? Is it the Asian Americans
No,
for
this is
civil
white.
liberties?
This was white people.
It's always white people.
This was white people crying.
Yeah, and is the agenda just to get you canceled? And is it a group, or is it just a bunch of sort of scattered individual Karens all over the world?
I think it's I think it's like it's kind of like the network thing we were talking about, or the vegans.
Right.
It's like there's like 100 people on Twitter that enjoy this shit.
Right.
And they've built a career type thing around this canceled type thing, or being outraged, or however yeah, I don't think no one cares.
I look
genuinely, no one cares every single time.
When I used to do radio a million years ago, like you get called into the program director's office and they had 3 letters from the Christian community or whatever, and they were very upset that you said tits or whatever it is, and I'm like, that's 3 people, and then there's 3 million people that laugh their ass off. So why aren't we taking their feelings into account? The people that want to be entertained. You know what I mean? Why are we so dismissive of their feelings? If this person could host this show or be a cast member or do a radio show or something, and they're bringing a lot of joy, maybe thought-provoking, who knows what else to those people, why do they collectively, with 3 million people, have 0 vote in this, and the fucking 8 born-agains are steering the shit?
Yeah. I don't know. That's the question.
The other thing that I found interesting is if you hang around long enough, my whole early career, if there was a problem in the network and the program director, you got to go down to this office, something he said, it was always a religious nut job.
Yeah.
It was always religious based. It was right. It was the religious right that didn't like your language, whatever. If you get called out now, it has nothing to do with the religious right.
No.
It's the fucking lunatic left who never stops talking about McCarthyism.
Yeah.
Except for they're fucking applying it every day of their life to you and your career.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that if you tapped me on the shoulder in 1999 and said, there's a letter, somebody's pissed, you said, I'd go religious nut job. You do it today, I go fucking atheist nut job.
Yeah.
Same nut jobs.
100%. Yeah. I see, but that's the thing. Like I started doing like stand up very like actually seriously in like 2015 or 6. Like, so I've only been around when it's the left.
Right.
You know, I've never been a part of it when the right wing were the.
Well, the beauty of the left is when it was the right, they never fucking stopped belly aching about it. They never stopped complaining about it. They were stuck pigs with the religious nut job right, controlling what they could do or what they could say. And by the way, the religious nut job right wrote letters and tried to get like boycott stuff. They weren't nearly as effective. These people are fucking neutron bombs compared to their fucking muskets that the religious right had. The religious right would write letters, and people would sort of generally ignore it and kind of get on with their life. They weren't getting people canceled left and right. They weren't pulling everyone away from their livelihoods. The left has figured this shit out. Not sure why it's.
I think the difference is
gratifying.
Like, I would not be worried about someone being like, "You're a sinner." But yeah, all right. But if someone's like, "Hey, you're a racist,"
you're done.
Now it's like, "Yo, chill."
Well, you can be a sinner and go to work.
Yeah,
you can't be a racist and show up on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So this stuff's blowing up like in real time. You go out on stage. Now, because of technology, everyone's got a phone, and they're like, that guy is in front of us now.
Sure, there was some like news reporters recorded the set.
Really?
Posted it. Like the text. Like the New York Post or Times or, and it was crazy.
Right. And so what happens, how's the ride home on the
ride
train?
Home? Yeah. I mean, I took the train home from getting canceled. So like everyone else that's been canceled is like famous and rich.
He took the C train.
I had to switch trains. And there was several times where I'd be on the train and somebody would be like looking at their phone like, looking at me like, oh shit,
Whoa.
that's you. You're the guy who's trending
No,
number one.
it's a very good point, which is, Paula Dean made her bones and then got canceled.
Yeah, when she got canceled, or if you're rich, you get canceled, you're like, all right, I'll take a vacation for a month. I'll go to Jamaica.
Yeah, most people put together 20.
Paula.
They put together 20. Paula
probably avoided Jamaica.
I'll go to parts of South Africa.
Yeah, she'll go to Scandinavia.
So, yes, you sell 1 million copies of a cookbook and God knows and what else, whatever your line of clothing is, and then you get canceled. But you basically got canceled on the launching pad.
Yeah. Real challenger.
Yeah, really. You didn't get up as high as the challenger. I mean, as it pertains to SNL, you went on the pad.
Yeah.
So
they were like, here's a rocket we're thinking about. It just explodes in the warehouse.
So this is all going on, but you still have to be thinking about the news cycle.
Yeah.
Because if there's another 9/11 the next day,
I'm off the hook.
You're off.
I know. I was praying for that.
It's something. Yeah, or some, senator goes on a shooting spree, or, OJ goes on a slow speed chase or whatever. It's pretty random.
Yeah.
If something can capture the zeitgeist.
Mine was Epstein.
Oh, it was Epstein.
And I think I was the thing that covered up Epstein.
Oh, really?
I think I might have been.
I
think it was a CIA.
You were like getting more clicks than Epstein was.
No, I couldn't have been, but it was around that time, I believe. So
you're hoping you're going to wake up the next day and they've turned the page and moved on.
Yeah, that's funny. I forgot about that. Yes, every night you'd go to sleep like, hopefully it's done.
Right.
Because you have all these well-wishers. Like, you have, like, managers and agents, and, like, even SNL was like, hopefully that was it. Hopefully that's the end of it. And then you'd wake up the next day and it'd be like, oh, fuck.
How many days did it go on?
I think it was either 4 or 5.
And
I'm just like,
how far are you from the beginning of SNL? The season?
Oh, like 2 weeks. The season starts in like 2 weeks.
Right.
So like, yeah, it was getting close to like me having to come in and start working.
But you haven't heard anything thus far?
I mean, I was going into like 30 Rock and like Lorne's and like sitting down, and all of them, it was funny. They were all like, the whole time they were the ones that were like, yeah, we're going to be all right. And I was like, no, we're not. Like, if they're getting me on this, we're in trouble.
Right.
There's more.
If
they say no to this, we're still.
And again, they is randos with computers and phones spread out all over the country. Never really there's no organization that, it's not the Southern Poverty Law Center that puts their stamp on it or anything like that. It's just randos everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so at some point, SNL's got to lower the hammer, right?
Yeah. And I got it. I understood. I wasn't like, this is outrageous.
Right.
Yeah.
Did they call you? Did they call you
They
in?
did. Yeah. No, they just called me on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I still talk to Lorne like these days, occasionally. He's like, he's a good,
he's just like, my hands are tied.
I believe I think it was new to him. I think this culture was new to him.
Oh, right.
Because up until this point, he's always been like, we're going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no matter what happened, he'd be like, don't worry, we're going to be fine. And then I think this was the first time in, like, his career that now it's the internet,
Right. So because
I think he was a little like.
Well, he's been at the helm for 40 years at this point, or 37 years, or whatever more.
I think the whole thing.
He's been like 45 years at the helm at this point. So he's like me with the landline going, come on.
Yeah. He's like, no, this is going to work.
You kids are nuts. When the shit goes down, you're going to be dying to get to my phone, which is bolted to the wall in the kitchen. And so he's probably experiencing it almost like you are, in the sense that, like, what? No, come on. I mean, we can do this or whatever. And he's getting schooled up by today's technology.
Yeah, it was very interesting. There was one part. Are we allowed to use any type of language on this?
Anytime.
All right. So there was one part. It was me and, this is a funny story. It's me and Lorne, and we're in an office, and we're going over, like, if we can just get you to fucking week 1, we're going to get out of this thing. Once everybody sees who you are, we're going to be fine. And then while we're in this meeting, he looks at his phone. He's like, oh, no. I was like, oh, fuck, what? And I'm not going to say the name of the person, but he's like, did you call a faggot? And I was like, I don't know. But yeah, probably.
Doesn't sound like me.
Yeah, doesn't sound like something I would say. But I was like, oh, fuck, we're done. That has to be it. And he was like, no, it's fine. What were we saying? Like, he literally was just like, no, you fucked up. That's fine. We're going to get through it. But I was like, no, that's over. If they have me on record saying that.
Yeah.
You know.
It's always so weird because you used to feel like as a comedian, you had some grace or some leeway or something, some room to maneuver, that you wouldn't be looked at like a school teacher.
Like I was being serious.
Or like you're being, yes, because you're a comedian. That's traditionally, it's interesting to me. And to me, it's not really the people that are calling you out. It's all the fucking pussies that go along with it.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a lot of these people, and what these people do, because I've seen it so much, it's their fault. Because we're really, like, again, we're talking about the 3 vegans on the set who wants to get the veggie subs that no one fucking wants. It's not really their fault. They just want their veggie sub.
Agreed.
The person that's taking the order goes, I'm not going to get a fucking tray of veggie subs. You guys are vegetarians. Bring your own fucking sandwiches. Yeah. That's what people here are meat eaters. We're going to do that. Or, I'll tell you what, I'll get a turkey roast, pull the turkey off, and just fucking eat it.
Yeah.
But they don't do that. They go, well, I'm sorry. What do you need? What do you need? It's their fault. And it's the problem. Like, the people I talk to, and then I'll go, God, can you believe they fucking canceled that guy for saying whatever? And he's a comedian or whatever. And they'll go, yeah, I don't agree with that, but he shouldn't have said it. And you go, wait a minute. You do agree with it? You don't agree with it? What do you agree with? It's like, oh, yeah, rounding up the Jews and putting them in concentration camps. I disagree with that, but they were Jewish.
They were being jerks.
Yeah, like... You should vehemently disagree with it. And if there was a groundswell of that, this shit would go away tomorrow. But there's so many people going, well, I know he's a comedian and I know he's supposed to be able to say what he wants, but he should have known, or he had to have known, or he could have known. It's like, do you want comedians up there thinking 10 syllables in front of everything they say? Because I should have known how people were going to take this.
Yeah, especially, in my particular case, it's like when you're doing a podcast for 500 people in Philadelphia, and that's it. You're an open micer. Like, I wasn't worried about SNL at the time.
Well,
that's
interesting.
It's like, here's one thing I struggle with, because I agree with you entirely when it comes to like because there's a part of me that always wants to be like, I don't want to defend myself too hard. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the guy that's outspoken against cancel culture.
No, we're circling back to your stand-up special. Like, well, Netflix passed. Well, that's because they didn't like what I said.
Exactly. I don't want to be that guy.
Yes.
I just want to do comedy. So, like, I've definitely been on camera being like, well, yeah, I mean, look, I get why they fired me. And I do understand why they fired me. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I get it.
I understand why I was fired. If you want to argue about changing the entire culture, yes, I agree with that. But I understood. I know the context that I'm in. I was drinking vodka earlier. Am I making sense?
No, you are. You smell like you're making sense.
Sorry. I did fucking Bert Kreischer's.
Oh, well, you got to drink with Bert.
Yeah.
Look, of course, I think we can, in a way, Lorne Michaels and SNL, in a way, they're victims too, because they wanted you to be on, they chose you, they sought you out, but because of the way the winds are blowing, and because they're a corporation, they have stock shareholders and things like that, they can't. So in a weird way, you should feel sorry for Lorne Michaels in a sense, because he got victimized by the Karens as well. He didn't want any of this. He wanted you.
Yeah.
And who knows? You could have been the best cast member ever. Probably not. But you could have been. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with Shane Gillis right after this. So back with Shane Gillis. I should tell everybody. That was fast.
Yeah, I was
Stand-up
like,
special. Nice. Shane Gillis live in Austin. It's very funny. Support him. It's free on YouTube. And, we're now at this sort of point in life where you're going to have to, if the Karens and the 100 asshole vegans on the internet are going to be essentially raising boycotts or presenting boycotts and getting guys pulled off of The Bachelor, or pulled off of SNL, or pulled off of whatever their livelihood is, the rest of the community is going to have to support them in what they do. So it's sort of the opposite of a boycott.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go to YouTube and go download the special and go buy the tickets and go see the comedy shows and do it, because that's kind of where we're at now. And once we're there, by the way, and I think we've hit a little bit of a saturation point, but we're kind of there now. I feel like no more. It's now a little bit mathematically impossible to cancel somebody if they're talented, if they have ability, if they can just go, fuck it, I'll go on the road, I'll play the clubs, people will buy tickets.
Yeah, there's always that argument that the left likes to make that. Like, the people that do the canceling, they love to be like, there's no such thing as cancel culture.
Right.
They love to do that.
They do.
Which really fucking annoys me.
Well, they're like, yeah, I got the guy fired from his roofing job, but he can get another job roofing.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, so you're doing what? You're providing what service for him and his family? It's like, I didn't fucking tackle him and prevent him from getting another job in the roofing industry. I just got him fired from his major roofing job.
Exactly. Like, I mean, that's, and then they're like, well, he's doing fine on Patreon, and he's doing, it's like, and now you're trying to get my Patreon fucking shut
Oh, really?
down. Yeah, they're always trying to like,
it's fucking,
like, can you believe Patreon supports
the only solace is knowing these fucks are miserable. They have to be miserable fucks. They just have to be.
Definitely.
It'd be impossible to go through your life pursuing other people and trying to bring them down. In comedy, right.
Yeah, it's not like these are like, undercover cops trying to bring down like murderers.
Well, they're also, or just someone who was in charge of policy. Like your joke somehow affected society in some meaningful way.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It always feels, I always talk to Dr. Drew about this, it always feels gross to me. Like it feels yucky.
Yeah.
Like it just feels like, ugh.
It is.
So it's that, if you ever beat off 3 times in one day, it's that third, it's right after the third where you just go, fuck.
What am I doing?
Fucking 4 in the afternoon. I'm still in my bathrobe. Ugh. It's just like this, like, yuck.
Yeah, that feeling going for number 3, though, is a good feeling.
Yeah.
Right when you go for number 3, that's a good.
Well, you enter with the best of intentions. Yeah. Well, I'm a little older than you. Time will catch up.
I don't jerk off 3 times.
No hat tricks, huh?
But that's funny. Yeah.
I don't know why it's satisfying. It's sad. I hope those people lead miserable lives. But
yeah,
what we need, we're turning the corner. I absolutely feel 3 years ago, I used to get a lot more like, hey, man, be careful what you say, or stop talking about this, or don't do that. And then I always just went, I'm not talking about what I'm wanting to talk about in defiance of what these people are saying. I'm just talking about what the fuck I want to talk about. I know it's just kind of this weird thing where it's like, oh, you're a rebel now. Not a rebel.
And you don't want to be that guy. Like, you don't want to be the bad boy of comedy. It's like you never want to be that guy.
Well,
you just want to do comedy.
But it's kind of an interesting construct, which is I go about saying what I want to say, you go about saying what you want to say, and then they oppose it, and now you're a rebel. But if you don't oppose it, then I'm not a rebel.
Yeah.
I'm only a rebel because you've told me to shut up.
Yeah, but they also do us a service of making it funnier.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, if everybody was cool with everything I was saying,
yeah,
I don't know how funny I'd be.
Well, you could,
you know?
Yeah,
There's a part of that.
Yeah. And now, people try to turn you into some folk hero status for just saying what you would have said.
Yeah, and that
anyway.
gets embarrassing. I don't like that. I'm embarrassed by that. I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I agree. You don't want to become a caricature who is essentially, at some point, you become a gay priest who's preaching against homosexuality, and it becomes kind of weird and you get tangled up in it. You just want to say what you think is funny.
Sure.
And hopefully the audience will go along with you on that journey, and that'll be the end of it. I don't know. It's curious to me that there's people getting in between you and the audience, or attempting to.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to, it is the furthest I can get on this is, it's weird. But I don't know how to.
Yeah, but your attitude is great because you're not, believe me, I can tell your attitude is great because you don't have this sort of vindictive, if only, or living in the past, or fuck these people,
if only I was
whatever.
A fucking featured player on SNL.
Whatever it is.
If only I was in a sketch once a season on SNL.
Right. In the first few years, that's how it would be, for sure. Yeah. So this episode sort of comes and goes. You're having to. It's a few. So it's 3 pieces. You've been accepted as a cast member in SNL. That's big news to everyone in Mechanics.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah, this is the first time, my family could be like, oh, nice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they don't know what the fuck comedy is. So I'm like, I got just for laughs. They're like, who gives a fuck? What are you talking about? When are you getting a job?
Right. So there's that, and then there's the shitstorm that ensues, and then there's the news that you've been canceled from SNL.
Yeah.
So that's a crazy 10 days for the family, right?
Crazy, yeah.
And then you're getting all these calls of congratulations at the beginning, and then you're getting all these calls of "Are you all right?" I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of texts that I didn't even have time to respond to when they were saying congratulations. That the next text was like, "Hang in there."
Oh wow! Yeah. I never thought about that.
Yeah, but it was 4 hours.
So what do you do then? What is your mindset at that point?
I went and did stand up. And it was funny because my agent, manager, and all that, everybody was like, just go home. Be alone. And I was like, that's literally the last thing I want to do is sit here and look at my fucking phone. I'm going to go, stand-up's the only, that's the best thing. It's the best way to not be in this. It's to publicly make fun of it and see people actually laughing. Versus I was looking at my phone, reading comments that were hope this guy dies, all that. Which I was literally never affected by a death threat or anything like that. But when it's fucking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar writing an article that you're a piece of shit,
right?
It's what the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah, he's written some crazy shit. That guy,
Kareem, got me.
Kareem,
yeah, all-time leading scorer. Lou Alcindor wrote an article that I sucked. And then his son stabbed the guy.
Oh, really?
So maybe he should have been parenting instead of writing an article.
Yeah, he should have. Up top. The skyhook up top. I do remember a little Kareem
I've been waiting
there.
to take a shot at Kareem for 2 years. This is it.
I support you fully. The thing about, there was an article that I remember where Kareem, and you can look it up, Chris, there was a Kareem article. The scariest part is when these guys write these kind of op-ed-y things, and they start saying shit, and they're using it as an example, and the example is something you disagree with vehemently. Yeah. They'll go, they'll go, Shane Gillis can speak his mind and then be rewarded on SNL. And so-and-so can, The Bachelor can do, or whatever. Do you want to live in that America? And I'm always like, fuck yes, I do.
Yeah, I think that's about the America.
Yes,
that's the one.
I do. The shit you're talking about is the exact opposite of what it was. A crazy article. It was probably about 2-3 years ago, right? And he just, maybe it was a year and a half ago, and he was kind of going through all the different people. And also they have this thing, too, where it's it reminded me when I was arguing with Gloria Allred. And she was like, you don't know if this helped or hurt Michael Richards' career. This may help him. You know, and it's like, no, it's not going to help him. You don't know that. Notoriety. It's like they do these things like
They
being
try to do
rewarded.
that.
He's being rewarded now because we're all talking about it. It's like he's not being rewarded. He got fucking canceled.
That came with me a lot. That happened with me a lot. And it bothers the fuck out of me when there's like people that aren't good at comedy or like suck at comedy or are just like desperate for attention. Or like, I think it's good. It's good what's happening to you.
Right.
It's like, it's not good. I don't think you understand how this, like if I sucked at comedy, this would destroy my career.
Right.
If this happened to you, it would ruin your career.
Right.
You know?
Not me, but
No,
you,
you,
the person who thinks
obviously not you. Shut up.
Right. No, but that's the whole thing. Like
it's very annoying.
If you're talentless, then the bootleg porn that came out may help you. But if you're a noted actor and much celebrated, it's just fucking embarrassing. It's not helping at all. That article was
Sorry, I just need a little more detail on
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Now
Put mine up there. Kareem Abdul, Shane Gillis.
I could
do that. He also went by Cassius Clay, but I think he wrote this later in his career. And he had another one that I didn't know if Shane was included in the one where he was talking about all these people being canceled and why it was a good thing.
After Kareem wrote that article, that one hurt.
Well, how early on was that?
It was pretty early, I think.
Wow.
I think it was like before I got fired. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And then I got off a train in New York, and as the doors opened, it was just an ad for one of his books.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, that's why he wrote that.
Wow.
Because he's selling a book, so he stuck a knife in me.
Oh.
Like, what a fucking disgusting world.
So you didn't take a lot of downtime and drown your sorrows in vodka.
No.
You said, I'm going to go back out and do stand-up.
Yeah, I did stand up the whole time.
And you felt like, almost like somebody saying, get exercise through COVID. Like it kept you sane in that period.
For sure.
And how long before you sort of, I mean, were you able to get philosophical about it early, or did it take a while?
Yeah, I was definitely, but I like to keep that to myself. You know, I'd hate to go on a podcast and be philosophical.
No, I just mean,
you
put it into context.
I was able to contextualize it pretty quickly, and I was able to be like, there was never a part of me that was like, all right, I'm going to quit, or like, oh, this is the end. It was always, I always had a pretty big picture idea of what was going on. And I understood the culture that we were in comedy better than I think most people going into it. Because I'd experienced it because it always starts at like the local scene. So I had experienced this type of like left versus right or club versus alt comedy battle in Philadelphia a year or two before I left. So I'd seen how this works and how like people act on the internet, you know, like where people you thought were your friends would be like, yeah, he also he outed a guy for sucking a trans guy's dick. And they'll just tweet that just to bury you while you know.
Did they?
Like, wait, what are you talking about?
Was there a part of you that could be like,
I don't know.
I can almost study this through the lens of our like a sociology major, like this crazy fucking chapter we're in our society, even if it's me in the eye of the storm.
Yeah, I will say this. I definitely thought I could, which was funny because I was fucked up. Like it was like, it really,
I know.
It damages you. So like the whole time I was trying to like, it was definitely a self-defense mechanism where I was like, I'm fine. I was fucked up.
You know, the sad part of that, had this happen to me a little bit. It's like people you thought were friends. It's never a best friend, but it's like the guys you know, guys you've worked with, comedians you've supported, done things for, helped out, blah, blah, blah. Having them fucking jump on the bandwagon. It's so fucking sad. It's like, dude, no one even knows who you are. Did you really have to put that out, that shitty tweet out there? And then you think back of the time you let the guy crash on your sofa.
Yeah, you gave him a ride to a show.
Or you did some shit for him. You put him on your podcast. You did blah, blah, blah. And they got to fucking jump in with something shitty. That's the saddest part to me.
Those were the worst.
The worst, right?
For sure. And that was all Philly people. That was all, because I was Philly.
Right.
So it was all the Philly comedy scene. They were the ones that were really like, I mean, there were guys that I was friends with that would like tweet out like paragraph stories of be like, here's a time he was a bully in the comedy scene.
You're like,
there's adult men going around calling other adult men bullies in fucking comedy.
yeah, and there's
If you're 30 and you have a bully,
oh my God.
kill yourself.
But then it's like guys are like, hey, dude, I played your cancer charity benefit for fucking free 4 months ago, and you're talking shit. It's so fucking sad. Do we have that article? Sorry, Chris?
Kareem,
I have the Kareem article. about
Kareem taking
Shane.
a shot, that motherfucker.
So this is Hollywood Reporter, September 2019. It's titled Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shane Gillis, SNL, and the Art of the Post-Racist Rant Apology. It's tempting to open this column by repeating Shane Gillis' homophobic, anti-Asian, and misogynistic slurs that got him fired from Saturday Night Live
Already sounds funny, though.
to show just how desperately unfunny, derivative, and dripping with flop sweat they are. But their level of funniness is not the point. Comedians have the right to be unfunny sometimes, just as athletes have the right to lose games and actors to be in bad films. But when a comedian makes hate-based comments, as Gillis did on his podcast,
Right.
we do have an obligation to take a closer look to
No,
see
you don't.
whether
That's
they
all
are
that.
insightful provocateurs of culture and the human condition, or just another middle schooler blowing milk out of their nose for a quick laugh, not caring who they spatter with milky
I'll be
snot
honest.
in
I
the
am
process.
a middle schooler spouting milk out of my nose.
Spit take,
And
whole
that's
milk, any time, even if it's Kareem's chocolate milk, I still feel like I want that spit take.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is this whole thing where they go, I'm all for free speech. I'm all for free expression.
this
I'm all
time.
for the First Amendment. But you got to understand, if you want to come on this campus with your hate, now I'll just need to vet it. Like they always set the table with, hey, I got a sense of humor. This is all great. But not this guy, not now.
You know what
Not
bothered
for
me
me.
the most about that? It was when he said flop sweat. And I remember being like, this fucking pussy just like contacted another comedian. Or like he found a comedian and be like,
Right.
what's bombing like? What's the word I should use here?
Right.
While he's sitting there fucking typing
sweat.
it. Flop sweat. Oh, that's good. I'll include that.
Is there any more, Max, about it? Just 'cause it's
Yeah, there's
great.
another excerpt that I liked. The weakest of all of Shane's defenses in this case is when he's a, quote, comedian who pushes boundaries. He's right that artists push boundaries of cultural
I agree with him
conventions.
on that.
Lenny Bruce, Dick Gregory, and Richard Pryor all push boundaries. The difference between an artist and an artisan is the artist's willingness to poke at the audience's comfort level in an effort to unveil weakness, discrepancies, and hypocrisies. Not everyone appreciates having their values questioned. That's why it's important that we give artists plenty of leeway to sincerely explore their interpretation of humanity. The goal of the artist is to bring people together by showing us our similarities through our weaknesses, even when we are reluctant to acknowledge them. At the same time, we are under no obligation to financially support self-proclaimed artists like Shane Gillis,
Self-proclaimed.
whose work promotes
I
hatred.
did see his windbreaker with the rainbow tape on it that says artist, and then there's an arrow just pointing at him. Self-proclaimed. Oh, it's so sad. I love that.
Yeah.
All right,
Fucking
that's enough.
Kareem,
Yeah, I
dude.
know.
But
Get
look,
to the article where his son stabbed a guy. You should have been parenting, Kareem. You
Well,
fucking loser.
to be fair, with that reach, it's almost
True.
impossible not to stab a guy. Like you literally pull
Just
out a
eating.
butter knife and someone gets stuck. You try to put a little schmear in a bagel, someone's going to get hurt. But look, let's look at it this way, Shane.
Sorry that
When you
thing's
were
so
growing
fucking
up
loud.
in, it's all right. When you were
Yeah.
in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and you were 11, could you have ever dreamt of a day where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar would
trashing
pen?
you. Just trashing you in the news.
Well, let's put it to you this way: if I got hold of an 11-year-old Shane Gillis, right,
Yeah.
and you're living in Mechanicsburg, and
Yeah.
and I said to you, look, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, greatest NBA scorer of all time, is going to write an article about you, you'd say,
I must be an astronaut.
I'm over the moon, right?
Oh,
You go nuts, right? It's insane, right? But what if I then said, it's not going to be positive? I bet an 11-year-old Shane Gillis would have said, let's do it.
yeah, I'll take
Let's
it.
roll the dice.
Did I shoot the president? What happened?
And then
No.
you'd have to wait
You had a podcast.
another long 19 years to find out.
It was a podcast.
That would just be the greatest scenario, hypothetical ever. I just go, it's pretty negative. I can't tell you. There's no jail time. You know what I mean? You haven't hurt anybody or yourself. It's very negative, and it's penned by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
You got to take it, right?
I feel like
you have to take it.
You have to take it.
If you have to definitely include no crime. There's no crime.
Yeah, I would tell you that.
And it's just Kareem Abdul is going to write an article about you.
Right.
He's going to trash you on CNN.
I'm the ghost of Kareem future. And this is
I'll take that deal.
You take it.
Would you?
Fuck yeah. And here we are.
Yeah.
And there you go.